Hello and welcome to the new series of Drishti IAS. I am Pooja, and in this segment today we are going to discuss about Aadhaar and identity theft. This topic is of extreme importance from the perspective of prelims when it comes to the facts, and from the perspective of GS mains paper 2nd, 3rd as well as 4th, the analytical part. So let's begin with the various topics that we are going to cover under it. These are the many topics that we are going to cover step by step. Kindly pay attention. And why are we discussing it? Because 2 days after UIDAI issued a notice basically in order to warn the citizens to have a prudence whenever they are providing a photocopy of their Aadhaar, and it has now taken back the notice saying that it could be misinterpreted. What is the entire issue? Why is UIDAI asking us to use a masked Aadhaar card photocopy? Let us know all about it. So first of all, let us try to talk about the notification. The general notification had actually cautioned the population of India, that is the general citizenry of India, to not share a photocopy of the document, that is Aadhaar, with entities such as hotels, cinema halls and others, for just because there is a probability or possibility of misuse. It said that you should rather use a masked Aadhaar. Masked means a veil should be kept over first 8 out of the 12 digits of the Aadhaar number should be replaced with the alphabet X. So this was the notification telling us about. Then it also said that citizens should share their Aadhaar details only with the entities that have a user license from UIDAI, which is the statutory body to regulate the usage of Aadhaar. And it did not specify how to verify this user license. How do we know which entity possesses a user's license or not? Because there can be an attempt to misuse a photoshopped Aadhaar card. Photoshopped Aadhaar card just in order to create fraud, just in order to create some sort of mischief. A person by using your Aadhaar card can Photoshop it in such a way that your details could be used for his or her benefit. All right, moving on. Only those organizations that have obtained a user's license from UIDAI can use the Aadhaar for establishing the identity of a person, and unlicensed private entities, they could range from hotels to film halls, they are not permitted to collect or keep copies of the Aadhaar card. And it's an offense under Aadhaar Act of 2016 if a private entity is demanding to see the Aadhaar card or seeks a photocopy of the Aadhaar. Please, they have to verify that the private entity has a user's license from UIDAI or not. So first, we have understood from this notification that there is a possibility of the Aadhaar being misused if we are tending it to a person or an entity that does not have a user's license. Secondly, masked Aadhaar should be made available for those who are demanding it, and in case they do not have a user's license, then of course there is an option that was provided by the UIDAI. Now it has withdrawn it because the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, under which UIDAI works, says there is a chance of misinterpretation of their notification, and that is why they withdrew it. Now let's talk about CAG's private risk flagging that has been given in the month of April, that UIDAI had not ensured that the devices or applications which were used by agencies or private firms for Aadhaar authentication were capable of strong person information, keeping them encrypted, which has put the privacy of residents at risk. Also, because of the upgradation of skills with respect to hacking, this is a problem. One instance was there in 2018 when the TRAI, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, or TRAI's chairperson RS Sharma, he tweeted boldly about his Aadhaar number, and he asked the users to cause him any sort of harm by using the Aadhaar number as a base or as a source of information. Now the users, they dug up his phone number, they got to know about the PAN card, they got to know about even his residential address just by using the number. So you see that it was there. There is an issue with respect to privacy in 2018, which was further said that it's not very sure, that UIDAI was not very sure if the PAN card number was correct. Now let's talk about the Aadhaar Act and UIDAI. Let's know about it. The Aadhaar Targeted Delivery of Financial and Other Subsidies Benefit Act of 2016 has said that Aadhaar authentication is necessary for availing subsidies and benefit services that are financed from the Consolidated Fund of India. That means for welfare programs. And in the absence of Aadhaar, the individual has to be offered an alternative of Aadhaar for identification in order to ensure that the person is not deprived of any sort of welfare benefits. And then separately, Aadhaar has been described as a preferred Know Your Customer document. Also, it is not mandatory for opening bank accounts, acquiring a new SIM, or school admission. So if you are going to acquire a new SIM, your vendor cannot ask you for Aadhaar card. Apart from that, if you are going to take admission in any school or coaching institute, there also you can provide an alternative source of information for your citizenship. Okay, moving on. If we talk about the requesting entity, they would have to obtain the consent of the individual before collecting his/her identity. So the problem is not with the consent here. Ensure the information is only used for the authentication purpose on the Central Identities Data Repository, which has all the FAQs with respect to who can avail your Aadhaar card, who cannot ask for your Aadhaar card, or where can you provide your Aadhaar card, so many things are given over Central Identities Data Repository. It's a central database. The regulator does not receive or collect the holder's bank, investment, or insurance detail. That means the UIDAI. Additionally, the Aadhaar Act forbids sharing the core biometric information, that is fingerprint. You should not share your fingerprint, iris scan, among other biometrics for any purpose other than Aadhaar number generation and authentication. And also, the Act makes it clear that confidentiality is needed to be maintained, and the authenticated information cannot be used for anything other than for what the Aadhaar was actually asked for. And more importantly, no Aadhaar number or no enclosed personal information collected from the holder can be published, displayed, or posted publicly. Identity information or authentication records would only be liable to be introduced pursuant to an order of the High Court or Supreme Court or someone of the secretary rank above the interest of the national security. Now let's talk about UIDAI. Although it's a statutory body, it came into being as a statutory body in 2016 only, but before that it was in existence. So tell me in the comment segment that in which year UIDAI came into existence in the comment segment, and I will take the names of those who have answered it correctly. It's a statutory body, and it became a statutory body under the Aadhaar Targeted Delivery of Financial and Other Subsidies Benefit Services Act of 2016, which is also known as Aadhaar 2016. The date is 12th of July, and it works under the aegis of Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. And it was created in order to issue unique identification number, which is named as Aadhaar, to all residents of India. Now, the unique identification number has to be a robust one to eliminate any duplication and fake email ID generation. It should be verifiable and authenticable in easy, cost-effective way. Also, as on 31st October 2021, the authority has issued 131.68 crore Aadhaar numbers to the residents of India. Moving on, other things that UIDAI has to take care of is enrollment and authentication, then developing the policy, procedure, as well as the system for issuing Aadhaar number to individuals, and perform authentication also, and the security as well as it's one of its role. So security also is to be there with respect to the role of UIDAI. What the SC judgment, the SC in our 4:1 judgment upheld the constitutional validity of Aadhaar, but they struck down section 57, which was essentially allowing the private entities to collect citizens' Aadhaar details as unconstitutional, but it upheld the section 7 of the Aadhaar card, which made Aadhaar mandatory for the benefits of the welfare benefits. It was actually in, you can say, in retaliation to Article 21, the right to privacy, basically, which comes under the right to life and liberty. Okay, moving on. If we talk about another important issues and challenges, let's take a look, because it is very database. So we have to look at that. National Payment Corporation of India's data said that rupees 6.48 crore worth of financial frauds through 8,739 transactions involving 2,391 unique users took place in fiscal year 21-22. Now, the NPCI's Aadhaar payment bridge and Aadhaar enabled payment system, they facilitate the direct benefit transfer and allow individuals to use Aadhaar for payments. And that requires the bank accounts to be linked to Aadhaar. Now, the UIDAI maintains that merely knowing the bank account number wouldn't be enough for withdrawing the money from anyone's bank, because it also requires the individual's fingerprints, iris scan and OTP on the registered mobile number. But what happens that certain brokers, they are known to buy documents, that is Aadhaar documents, in bulk from mobile shops or from other entities in bulk. And then the employees of service providers, they were also caught stealing the important biometric information collected solely for Aadhaar authentication. Okay, so you see how it is breached. And collecting fingerprints from varied places, it might touch unknowingly in certain space, such as a railing of a staircase, which can be, of course, printed on a piece of clothing or a piece of proper fiber that it is made for, and they are acquired through high resolution cameras. And as for mobile verification, phone users in India, they are known to carry 2 mobile phones generally, but it can happen that the number linked to the Aadhaar card is not prominently used, and the people who are actually doing the mischief, they can link their own mobile number with the Aadhaar card. And fraudsters could use this opportunity to link their phone numbers that can update and they can further update it into their bank account. And then what happens, we all know, frauds happen. Moving on, let's talk about Aadhaar data vault. Now, Aadhaar data vault is a vault in which the Aadhaar information is kept, and that was flagged by the CAG that in its latest report, it was stipulated that UIDAI, it neither specified any inscription algorithm to secure the same, nor there is a mechanism to illustrate the entities that were adhering. So no proper information was kept in the vault. Then further, UIDAI's unstable record with biometric authentication has not helped it with deduplication efforts, because many duplicate IDs were also provided. So deduplication was also not happening. This gives a lot of scope for hackers and as well as just honest mistakes to happen. And then the CAG's report stated that apart from the issues of multiple Aadhars to the same resident, there have been instances of the same biometric data as well. 4.75 lakh duplicate Aadhaar numbers were cancelled as on November 2019. And the regulator, basically UIDAI, relies on automated biometric identification system for taking corrective actions. Now, that is also not effective enough in detecting leakages and plugging them. Now, biometric authentications, they can be a cause of worry, especially for the senior citizens, and because their iris scan and their fingerprints are deteriorating with age. So these are the many things. Now, what can be done as a way forward? First of all, strong data protection legislation has to be put forward, which is still a bill. It hasn't become an act, so that legal backing can be provided. Right to say no only can happen when people are aware that we can provide alternative documents to entities which are not having users license. So first awareness, then right to say no, we cannot provide the Aadhaar. Also, if it is asked, they should be well aware enough of the rulings of the Supreme Court. Other than that, the act itself, if they can say no or not. Alternative mechanism should be provided, other documents, and how to mask them properly. This awareness should be generated, and there should also be an ease of verification with respect to the ease should be cost effective, it should be efficient, but it should not be so deep entrenched into the information that it tackles and tramples upon the right to privacy under Article 21, which is a fundamental right. Now let's look at our question. Critically analyze the trend of proliferating usage of Aadhaar card as a premise of identification in India. You have to write it in 250 words. Okay, so that's it for today. Tomorrow we shall meet again with another segment. Until then, stay updated, and thank you so much for watching.